All right. Okay, guys, welcome. Happy Wednesday. I'll give you guys a chance to pop on in. I see some familiar faces, some familiar names joining me this morning. Welcome, everyone, to our weekly immigration live update. So glad you guys are joining me today. And as usual, let me know where in the world are you guys joining me from. I see a lot of familiar names, but some I don't recognize. And for those who are new to following us, comment below. Let me know where you're joining me from. Is this your first time joining? Welcome if it is. So I am Kay Wilson. I am the lead consultant with Northern Connections Canada Immigration. And I'm joining you here from Regina, Saskatchewan, which is where we're based. Guys, fun fact, so overnight, and I think it's still continuing now outside. So we had, okay, so I see somebody from Trinidad, first time, Jamaica, Nigeria. Welcome, guys. From Instagram, we have some folks joining from Facebook and from YouTube. Okay, I see someone from the UK. Welcome. My folks from Jamaica representing. Yeah, so guys, here in Regina, overnight we've had or we've been having this major snowstorm. So there is a couple inches, centimeters of snow outside. It's crazy. I think a lot of people have those who have gone back to the office to work have actually had the chance to stay home today. A lot of people, when I went outside this morning, quite a bit of people outside shoveling snow or using a snow blower. So it's more snow than we've had in a long time. Regina, somebody's asking, where is Regina? So Regina is the capital city in the province of Saskatchewan. So we're in Saskatchewan, Canada. So we've been having a lot of snow overnight. So the roads are covered in snow, so it's kind of treacherous to drive outside right now. First snowfall for the winter here, and normally we would have had snow from maybe in October thereabout. It was delayed, but then it came with a vengeance. So we've had really heavy snow overnight, and it's not just snowing. It's like I said, it's like a mini snowstorm, mini blizzard. It's snowing and it's windy, and yeah, that's the condition outside today. All right, guys. So today I'm just gonna, as per usual, touch on some of the happenings in the realm of Canadian immigration. We'll talk about some of the draws. So there have been a few draws recently, not as much as we normally see, but we're just in the middle of the month, so we expect that there will be a lot more draws going on as we progress further in November. So I'll start off with Alberta. So Alberta had their PNP draw. You know, normally Alberta has a draw, and then later down they will release the details of the results. So the November 11, which was probably about a few days ago. So Alberta had a draw where they invited 248 express entry candidates to apply for provincial nomination. And as per usual, Alberta tends to go for really low express entry score, which is good. So as low as 300, right? The candidates that were invited. So Alberta doesn't tend to provide much details about their draws, but they will tell you how low they go in terms of the cutoff score. And so for this draw, the cutoff was as low as 300. All right. So that would have been the score of the lowest scoring candidate who was invited to apply. And then, of course, once they have been invited that and nominated, so there's that in between. So it's two steps, right? You have to be invited, then you apply for provincial nomination, and then you may be nominated if that application is successful. And so that would mean an additional 600 points on top of that 300. Now, the next one is Quebec. So Quebec is Canada's French province. and they usually have they manage their own immigration programs and systems. They do that under what they call they have their own immigration ministry, right? MyFi. So Quebec had a draw where they invited 33 candidates to apply for permanent residence, and this happened on November 11th. If you are looking to migrate to Canada, to the province of Quebec, then of course one of the requirements is that you must be French speaking, because the aim is to preserve the French language, and that's the predominant language in Quebec, right? So they held invitations to apply under the regular Quebec skilled worker stream. And so those who were selected would have filed an expression of interest in Quebec's ARIMA system. So it's a pool. So this is a separate pool that Quebec maintains outside of the express entry system, right? So it's similar, but a little different. So that's for Quebec. And then British Columbia. So BC, as per usual, BC tends to have a lot of draws as well. So they have very frequent draws. They have a very popular tech draw or tech program. It used to be called the BC Tech Pilot, and they have since renamed it to the BC Tech Program. And that's because the pilot itself did so well, and they have extended it indefinitely and renamed it the BC Tech PNP draw, right? Our program. So this tech program essentially allows candidates to have a fast-tracked immigration pathway, and it's reserved for those who work in the tech sector in BC. So tech workers, as well as international graduates from British Columbia. And there are 29 tech occupations that are prioritized under this program, and it gives them a fast track way to obtain permanent residence in the province. And this is because the tech industry, of course, is, huge in BC. It's booming. They have weekly invitations, and the 80% of the applications to the BC PNP under this program, they are processed within 2 to 3 months of receipt, so very quick. And then also there is a work permit aspect of it, because this specific program is a job offer stream, right? So you would have to secure a job with an employer in British Columbia. The beauty about it is that it does not require the LMIA, right? So it fast tracks the process, and some of those work permits are approved within 2 weeks, very quick. Similar to the global skills strategy, where there is an expedited processing time for these in-demand occupations. And so BC had a draw from the streams on November 16th, so that was yesterday, and they invited 87 candidates under different categories. The minimum score for this draw was the same across categories, so it was 75, and they had skilled workers, international graduates, and then they had express entry as well under the various categories. So that's what happened with British Columbia. And then I'll touch a little bit on the last express entry draw. So we had an express entry draw on November 11th. As you may know, the express entry draws are expected to happen about every 2 weeks. And what we have seen this past year is that they have been focusing on the PNP streams, as well as the Canadian Experience Class program. They have not had any draws for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, so that still remains at a standstill. And so most of the people that have been selected under the express entry, or from the express entry pool, have been under these streams, right? So PNP, Canadian Experience Class. There hasn't been any federal skilled trades or skilled worker draws. And so the last draw happened on November 10 for express entry, and they selected 775 candidates from the pool. the CRS cutoff was 685, right? And this was a PNP draw. So this means that the lowest ranking candidate in the pool was 85. Can you imagine? So 85, because they would have gotten a provincial nomination, which would have added that extra 600 points on their score. So it's like 85. Can you imagine? Just 85. And so in this draw, they also applied what they call the tie-breaking rule, right? And so the tie-breaking rule essentially is, for example, if the government planned to draw that amount of people, 775, when they got to the last person, there may have been a number of people in the pool with that same score, right? PNP nomination at that cutoff, which is 685. So 685 was the cutoff, and they wanted 775 people. And if they got to the 774th person and they needed one more, there may be a number of people in the pool at that 685 cutoff, right? And so that means in order to select one more, they would have to apply the tie-breaking rule. And what this rule does is it recognizes the timestamp of the profile submission. And so it means that the person who submitted their profile the earliest would be the one to be selected. And so that's a benefit of getting another benefit, right? There are a number of benefits, but that's one of the benefits of having your express entry profile in the pool of candidates as early as you can, because if there ever is a time where the tie-breaking rule has to be applied and you are one of those candidates, in order for you to be selected over somebody else, it will be based on the timestamp of the profile being a complete profile, right? Being accepted, being submitted into the pool. So that's how that works. And so that rule was applied in this specific draw. And so that was the last draw. We're expecting, hopefully, to have another draw soon. And this is just my personal view, I don't believe that there will be any FSW draws for the rest of this year. We will watch to see what happens in the new year. And this is based on recent meetings that were held with the IRCC in conferences, and based on the feedback that they have provided, they have not explicitly come out and said that they won't. But based on those dialogues, we believe that there won't be any further draws for the FSW program for 2021. I hope I'm wrong, but that's the indication that we got from that. And so, of course, there are changes that are expected to happen with the whole Nox system in early 2022, so in the spring of 2022. And so we're looking to see what that will look like and how that will impact. It will impact all programs for sure, but we will see what other changes the government of Canada comes up with. All right. And so I think that's all I had to cover, guys, today. I saw a couple of questions. I'll just spend 5 minutes taking some questions and then I'm off. All right. So let's see. Let me go back to the questions. And you guys can pop the questions in, maybe in the question section, so that I can just see them a lot easier. All right, so somebody asked, what are my chances of getting permanent residence in Canada? And how do I start the process? So that's kind of very vague. It's a little vague question, but let me just say, well, for one, I wouldn't be able to say what are your chances without knowing a little bit more about you, because there are a lot of programs, and there are basic eligibility requirements to be met for each program. And so in order to advise of that, I would have to ask you a ton load of more questions. And so what we normally do in that case is a consultation. That's going to be the first step to get clarity on your eligibility, your options as it relates to immigration programs, how to apply, what are the steps that you need to take. And this process can look, I can tell you, it looks different for everyone. It looks different for everyone. And you'll find that even with different programs, you could apply at the same time as somebody else, and their applications is processed before yours, or is finished before yours, or yours is finished before them. And that's because there are so many different factors that are involved. Does the Canadian Embassy offer English tests? No. I'm not sure which Canadian embassy you're referring to, but as far as I know, so the tests, English tests are independent of the government of Canada. They have approved agencies and approved tests that are accepted, but it depends on your program. Okay, so somebody's asking if we are from Jamaica, do we need to do the English test to get the study permit? So not generally when you're applying, and it's not for the study permit purposes, it's really for the school. When you're applying to an institution in Canada, of course, they have different admission requirements, right? Every school and every program will have a different admission standard, different requirements that you must meet. Generally, though, for most schools in Canada, if you are from an English-speaking country, you're not required to submit any language test results. All right. So if you're from an English-speaking country, and that's straight across the board, as a matter of fact, most of them will have a list of countries that are exempt from having to do that. And that list is pretty much the same across schools. And it's generally if you're from an English-speaking country, or if you studied in English. So maybe you were from, say, China, right, which is a country that's a non-English speaking country, but maybe you studied in the USA at some point, you did all your education or you did your bachelor's there. In a case like that, the schools, depending on the schools, they will accept they will accept that as an exemption, the fact that you studied in the USA, right? But generally, if you're from an English-speaking country, you would not be required to produce language tests for the purposes of admission. So it's not really for the study permit. It's really for admission purposes. And I'm just speaking to those from an English-speaking country. If you're not from an English-speaking country, then yes, language test results will be required. And that can be, the requirements are different based on the school and based on the program that you're applying to. So of course, the higher the level of study, the more the requirements will be. I think generally, like the center, somebody's asking about a center. The centers in the Caribbean are at the University of the West Indies. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then somebody on Facebook. Okay. Somebody's asking about consultation options. So if you are interested in a consultation, you would go on our website. So on our website at nccanadaimmigration.com. So that is where you would see the options for a consultation. And you can have, that would be a private session with myself or one of our consultants. And it's in that session that we would advise you of how all of this works, how to apply, how to meet the requirements, and specifically to identify a program, right? Because that's what will determine what your next move will be when you know what program you're eligible for and what steps to take toward applying and what that will look like, not just for you, but for family and so on. If I'm in the express entry pool, can my family and I still apply for a visitor's visa? I don't see why not. Yeah, I don't see why not. I'm in the Express Entry pool. Is now a good time to reapply or wait? I'm not sure. I would have to see your profile to better advise you. But I mean, if you're in the pool and your profile is about to expire, I would say resubmit your profile if your documents are still valid. Yeah, and like I mentioned, for consultation, you'd go on our website. nccanadaimmigration.com. So that is where you would go to schedule your consultation. Or I see you're asking that question on Instagram. There is also a link in the bio. So in our bio on Instagram, there's a link, and you would see the option there as well to schedule a consultation. You can also email us at info@nccanadaimmigration.com, and somebody from the team will definitely reach out to you or respond to you. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to sign out now. Thank you so much. The cost will depend on the type of session. So go visit the link I mentioned. Look at the options that are there. So, and then you will see the associated costs as well, and the time, right? So they're all different lengths as well. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your week, and I will catch up with you guys sometime next week. See you.